Okay. So I'm going to make tonight. I'm going to make meatballs. Okay, with tomato sauce with vegetables in it, and I'm going to serve it with wholemeal spaghetti. So while we were just chatting there, I've chopped up an onion. Okay, so this is for the meatballs. So I'm just chopping up really fine, and I'm going to fry it here. Okay. I'm just going to have a little bit of olive oil in. I'm just adding another wee drop of olive oil to it. And then just keep it down a wee bit low. And I'm just going to let it fry and simmer away there for a few minutes, okay? Who we got on tonight? Mary or Joan, you have a little helper on tonight? Yeah. Hello. Louise, are you cooking tonight? Yeah. Yeah. Is anybody else cooking?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Is everybody just watching? Yeah.
It's a little girl.
So I just want to put on the kettle as well. Give me a second. Water. Just, Louise, I just put on the oven and boil the kettle, okay? So for the meatballs, I'm just going to add some. I'm going to fry these onions, okay? Just fry off one onion in your pot there, and just do it for about 2 or 3 minutes, just to soften the onion, okay? And then we let it cool down for a minute. So, sorry. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Thumbs up if you can hear me. Yeah, that's grand. So I'm just frying off an onion. So for this recipe, I'm using some lean steak. Okay, so lean steak mince. Okay, so I have a kilo of mince here. I'm also got an onion in here, some tomato puree, some garlic, and I have some breadcrumbs that I blitzed up earlier on. Okay, and I'm going to use an egg and some salt and pepper. Okay, so these are really nice. These meatballs are lovely. They're really nice. I served them with a really nice tomato sauce, and the tomato sauce has lots of vegetables. So we'll have like peppers, courgette, some mushrooms and onion in the tomato sauce. So we're going to make the meatballs first, and then I'm going to show you how to do the sauce. Okay. So my onions for the meatballs are fried. I'm just going to turn them off, leave them sit there for a few minutes, okay? And then I'm going to add the mince. So put the mince in here. I'm just going to put this over here. All right, and then just break up the mince using your spoon, a wooden spoon. So I'm going to use a clove of garlic. These are big cloves, so I'm going to use these, and I'm going to use my garlic crusher. Now I have to cut it in half. But the garlic crusher is, the garlic clove is quite big, so just I'm going to put in 1 clove of garlic just to give them a nice flavour. Now, whenever you're doing these, try and use lean steak mince because you don't want too much fat coming out. You know, the water and the fat that comes out of them. So if the steak is nice and lean, it's better for them. All right. Leave that there. We'll just give that a wee mix. And then I'm just going to use a pinch of salt, okay? Just a wee pinch of salt and some pepper. I'm just going to use some black pepper. I'm just using the grinder. Put it in, okay, and mix it up. And then I'm also going to add in the onions now in a minute when they cool down. We'll just break up your mince like that, okay? And then I'm going to use an egg. So I'm going to beat an egg, crack your egg into this here. Now, always have a wee bowl beside you, just to keep all your rubbish, keep all your vegetable peelings and your eggshells. I'm just going to beat the egg up. So just one egg. And I'm going to add in a cup of breadcrumbs. Sorry, half a mug of dried breadcrumbs, okay? So it's about a teacup size of breadcrumbs, okay? Or half of a mug. And then your egg, okay? And then, I'd like wrap it hot because this will be hot. And then I'm going to pour in this fried onions. Now, frying the onions beforehand gives it a really nice flavour. Now you can keep that pot there that'll do for when we do the sauce. Now these will be really hot. So if you're going to make these at home, do the onions about an hour beforehand and have them nice and cold because you don't want to burn your hands. Okay. I'm going to add a wee bit of tomato puree as well. That gives it a nice sweet flavour. So a teaspoon of tomato puree. Okay. That gives them a really nice flavour. So then just give it a good mix. Now I know we made burgers. Did we make burgers first or second week here with this group? We used peppers. Do you remember we made peppers and we used apples and peppers in the burgers? Do you remember that? So it's kind of similar, but you don't want these to be too wet. So you give them a good mix. How are you getting on, Louise? Yeah, brilliant. Okay. Now, if you're gluten-free and you want to use gluten-free breadcrumbs, that's fine, or gluten-free flour, you know, to mix it. Yeah, you're able to do that. You can do that as well with this recipe. Now, I'm just going to put them into this here. All right. I'm just going to give my hands a wee wash. You just take a wee piece and roll them into a ball. Then you can take them as big or small as you like, okay? So I just put them into the palm of my hand and made like a wee ball and just roll them, and then I'm going to put them onto this tray here. All right, and then I'm going to put these in the oven and let them cook out. While they're cooking, then we'll make the sauce. All right, and then we'll put them on. How's everyone getting on? Do you have any more on? Paula, you got any more on?
There's a few come on there when you started.
Hello everybody, that's just come on. What I did at the start was I fried the onion, okay, to put into these. Just it gives it a nicer taste if the onion's fried rather than it being raw. And then just roll them. Now, if you want to make little mini ones, you can, okay? If you want to make little mini meatballs, you can as well. Now, this is a great dish. You can freeze this. So it's great for if you want to make a batch of these and freeze them. You can put them in your freezer on a tray like this once you've rolled them up. You can put them on a tray, and when they're hard, take them out and put them into a wee bag or a wee box, and then you'll have them.
Can you freeze them, Joanna?
Frozen
or cooked? But can you freeze?
Yeah, you can cook it when. Yes, you can do that when they're cooked as well, Mary.
That's fine. Look, you don't use flour or anything. Do they not stick to your hands?
No, I've just used breadcrumbs in them.
Yeah, the breadcrumbs will keep them from
Flour.
sticking. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you don't really need flour, Mary, because
No, the
they're
breadcrumbs,
not too sticky. I've only added 1 egg as well, okay?
fine, fine.
And then-
Joanna, it's Marion here. Hi, how are you? Could we
Hi.
ask a quick question? Darcy and I want to prep this for tomorrow night's dinner. So what way would we be best? Would we just cover the meatballs in cling film now and stick in the fridge and do our sauce separately, or what would you suggest?
Yeah. If you want to just do this now and then cover them with cling film and stick them in the fridge, you can do that.
Yeah.
And then make your
And then
sauce.
just add-
Make your
Okay.
sauce. Are you going to make the sauce tonight?
Yeah, we're gonna make the sauce with you tonight. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then you just keep the sauce for tomorrow night. And then tomorrow night, then all you do is heat up your sauce. You can cook your meatballs for about 15 minutes and heat up your sauce, and then add the sauce onto your meatballs and then put them back in the oven. Okay.
Perfect.
So I always
Yeah.
like to brown the meatballs first, or else you can fry them in a pan if you want tomorrow and brown them all over. But it's easier to do them in the oven. We find it's a lot easier just to put the tray in the oven, and it saves you standing frying. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Joanna.
Okay. I'm just gonna wash my hands here. No.
Joanna, a wee question from Patricia. Do you
Yeah,
need to oil the dish? Do you need to oil the dish before putting the meatballs in?
No, I didn't bother because there's oil in the onions and there's a little bit of oil in the mince, so you shouldn't need. They won't need that. Okay. So I'm gonna put these in the oven for about 20 minutes. So it's about, I put them on about 180 degrees. Okay. I'm just gonna put this in the top. So then I'm going to make this sauce for the meatballs, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop a few vegetables. Now for this sauce, you can use whatever kind of vegetables you like. And there's a great thing you can do at the end of this as well, is you can use your blender, okay? So when the sauce is ready, you can blend it. So it means that you can put any type of vegetables in it if you have little people that don't really like vegetables, or big people. So it's a great way of getting vegetables. The sauce is a great way. So a wee tip when you're doing mushrooms, run them under the cold tap really quick and dry them really, really quickly, okay? And don't let them sit in water. Right, so just want to dry them a bit tomorrow.
Another wee question, Joanna. Is it 180?
Sorry?
Is it 180 for a fan oven?
180 degrees or a gas mark 6. All right. So Marion, you're cooking. That's great. So you'll have all your dinner ready for tomorrow night. Brilliant. Great idea. Now this sauce is a really, really good sauce for even just having with on its own with pasta, you know. You know the way you were saying, Joe, was it Joan who was saying they were having, or Pamela, you were saying that you were having pasta. So
yeah, mine was out of a jar out of Sainsbury's.
Yeah,
Arrabata out of a tub.
Yeah, well, some of these sauces, if you look at the jar, some of them are okay. You know, they're healthy enough. Some of them have a lot of sugar and a lot of salt in them.
Yeah.
So once you make your own, you can make these. You make it in batches and freeze it in freezer bags.
Yeah.
Or in
The next time I'll be doing my own.
Yeah. No, it is really. It's a really, really nice sauce. And I use this sauce for lasagna, for chicken pasta bake, for making pizza. You know, there's so many things. If you blend it up, you can get as many vegetables into it as you can, and just blend it up. It's great, you know, and it's a great thing for when you come home from work. If you're in a rush, you can take it out of the freezer that morning and defrost it, you know, and defrost it for when you get home. I'm just going to chop these. Now I'm just going to put on the saucepan here and heat it up again. Actually, I'm going to use a bigger saucepan actually. I'll use a bigger one. So try to look for me. Who's Louise? If you want to use a bigger pot, you can.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm just heating up the pan. Just heating up my pan there. I'm chopping all my onions. Okay. So I'm going to sweat the onions with mushrooms and peppers and some courgettes. Okay. So when you're chopping them, if you just chop them, keep the root on. Remember I told you a few weeks ago about keeping the root on your onion, and then it holds it all together for you. And then you don't need, your onion doesn't go all over the place. Plus, it doesn't make you cry. So.
I saw someone on the TV the other day cooking. I think it was Come Down With Me, and they put a spoon in their mouth to stop them crying,
Yeah,
but I don't think it worked.
Yeah, that works as well.
And I was shouting at the TV, you need to do it the way Joanna says. Keep the root on.
Keep the root on. So I'm just going to fry off the onions again. And then I'm going to chop up. So the mushrooms have been washed and dried. So the reason I was saying about doing that is if you leave mushrooms sitting in water, they just go black and soggy. And then when you're eating them, they're quite, they've got a rubbery texture. And then some people don't like that feel of mushrooms. Yeah. So I'm just going to slice them. So if you're chopping them, put them down flat. Put them into the quarters. And then I'm going to use about 6. It says on that punnet of strawberries or punnet of mushrooms. Because these are quite big, I've just used about 6 of them. Yeah. You can use this sauce, it's great for spaghetti bolognese as well, okay? You can make the sauce and then add, you fry your mince separate, or you can fry your mince with the onions. But I find if you make it separate, it's nicer. And then if you make it separate, then you can have it extra left. You can use it for different dishes,
Joanne, it's Deirdre here. I'm not a fan of mushrooms. Is there some alternative you can use other than mushrooms?
Well, I was just saying, Deirdre, that you can use any vegetables in this sauce because at the end you can blitz it. You can use your blender. So for this sauce, I'm using peppers. I'm using courgettes. Now you can have grated carrots. You can grate carrots into it. You can use, I'm trying to think, courgettes, onions, peppers, carrots. You can use squash even. You can put it up fine into little dice, and you can use butternut squash in it as well. There's loads of different things you can use. It's a very versatile sauce, so don't worry if you haven't got mushrooms, okay? And then just want to pull the pepper apart. What would you use normally, Deirdre?
I quite like tomatoes and peppers, courgette, celery.
Celery, yeah.
And grated carrot.
Yeah. So it's really up to yourself, really up to yourself, whatever you like. And it's a great way of, if you just want to cook pasta and just have this on its own, or cook a chicken breast and add it in as well. There's loads of different things you can use it for. I'm just going to add this in. So I kind of have this on medium heat here. Cook it away. For this, let's see what I do would be greater. So for the courgette, I've already washed this, so I'm just going to use half of the courgette and I'm going to grate it. So I'm just going to run it down the grater, the big side of the grater, okay? And put that in as well. So it's really a great way of having, you know, when you're rushing home from work and you know you're getting something healthy, and everybody's going to get something that has vegetables in it, you know. So just put that in there now, okay? And I'm going to chop up another pepper as well, a red pepper. I have a red pepper here, and I'll just chop that up and add that to it as well. Okay. So you know the way they talk about 5 a day, so it's a good way of getting your family's 1 or 2 portions of vegetables into your family.
Man, is there something about a red pepper there's more flavour out of it than a green pepper, or did I dream that?
Yeah, it's sweeter.
Yeah, there's something, somebody told me that too. And
Yeah, it's a lot sweeter, and yeah, some people prefer red peppers. The green peppers can be quite kind of bland, but the red peppers are nice, sweet, and crunchy. They have a nicer taste, I think. You know.
yeah.
They're a lot sweeter.
Did you grate the whole half courgette?
I just done half a courgette, yeah.
Aye, but you only you grated the whole half, if you know.
I did, yeah, I grate the whole half. Now I have some celery sticks. I'm just going to add them. I'm chopping them really, really, really fine, okay? And I'm going to add them in as well, okay? Just try and get as much vegetables as you can into your sauce. Now, whenever I'm going to put a lid on this, okay? Find my lid. I'm going to put a lid on it, and I'm going to sweat it for a few minutes. Now, what sweating does, whenever you put a lid on it, okay, it creates steam in it, and then it doesn't brown the vegetables. Well, as long as you haven't got it up too high, and they cook, and they be like nice and soft, and they still have their color, you know, so they're not browning on you. Just going to rinse this. So far now we have, I'm just going to check the list. We have onion, peppers, courgette, mushrooms. I'm going to put in some garlic as well. I don't think I put in enough garlic in that, so I'm going to stick another clove of garlic into it. Now I also, whenever I add the tomato puree on the stock and all, I also add some frozen spinach. So it's a couple of blocks of frozen spinach. They're really handy to have in your freezer because you can add them to anything, you know, when you're making stews and all. If you buy them and keep them in your freezer, you can use the bags, you know, the bags of spinach as well. Make sure you wash it really well though. So I'm just chopping up another clove of garlic, and I'm going to put that into my saucepan here. Give me a second. So I'm just going to add this garlic into it. It smells lovely. Now to give it the Italian flavour, I'm going to add some basil and dried basil and dried oregano, okay? This is not. I'm just going to chop this up a bit. Listen. All right. Just give it a stir. Can everybody see over there? Yeah. I'm going to put the lid back on this for a minute. I'm just wiping down here.
How much oregano and basil? About a half a teaspoonful or
Hold
something?
on, I'll turn off this tap. I can't hear you. The tap's leaking. Sorry, what did you say there?
Sorry. How much basil and oregano? About a half a teaspoonful each or more?
Yeah, I'm going to show you now. I think I have a teaspoon of oregano.
One.
You can buy mixed herbs that is Italian seasoning, okay? You can buy the one that's Italian seasoning and use that for when you're making the sauce, or you can use oregano and basil, okay? So I'm just going to use a teaspoon of basil and a teaspoon of oregano, okay?
I have that in the house.
So
Right.
just 1 teaspoon. So whenever you buy the jars, that's what you're getting. You're getting, that's the flavors you're getting, you know, oregano and basil and garlic. That's what they're using in the jars. But in the jars, they will use an awful lot of oil for cooking, and they'll use lots of sugar as well. So this is just a healthier version, okay? Now I'm just going to wipe this all down. I'm just going to check my meatballs. Give me a second. Now I'm going to turn the meatballs over. So I'm just going to use a spoon and a fork and turn them over, just so you want to get them brown on both sides, or all sides, you know. Just turn them over. See the way they're nice and firm, and they're not breaking up. So whenever you're making them, make sure they're nice and firm whenever you're rolling them, and that they're not breaking up. If they're breaking up on you, if they're too wet, add more breadcrumbs, okay? And if it's too dry, maybe add a little bit more egg. So these are nice and firm. You can see them. I'm going to cook them again in the oven. So I'm just going to stir this here. Now I'm going to move all this, and then I'm going to bring it into the here to show you what I do next. All right. So to make your life easy, what I would do with this is, I would use it if I'm making this to fill up my freezer. I'll get a really big stock pot, and I'll do like six onions and 6 peppers, a couple of courgettes, grated carrot, whatever vegetables, onions. I'll make a big pot of it, and then whenever it's cooked and it's cooled down, I'll put it into freezer bags and keep it in the freezer. So just means you always have it. So in here, I'm going to add some more tomato puree, okay? So I'm going to add a tablespoon here. Oh, sorry, what am I saying? 3 tablespoons of tomato puree, okay? So I'm just going to squeeze the rest of this out. Now, tomato puree is kind of the base of your sauces. So make sure you put it in, and when you do put it in, make sure that you cook it out. Some people add tomato puree to liquid, but you should really fry it off, okay? So you should really fry it off for a few minutes to get rid of the bitter taste. So can you see that there?
Yeah.
All right. Smells lovely. Smells like a pizzeria. The lovely oregano and basil smell. All right. Now you can use tin chopped tomatoes. I'm going to use passata tonight. Okay, but you can use chopped tin tomatoes if you like. And I have the kettle on here, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a stock cube. I'm going to use a beef stock cube, and I'm going to dissolve it in water, in a mug of water, okay? Now also, before I do this, I'm going to put on the pasta, okay? I'm going to show you. Okay. So I'm going to use wholemeal pasta, wholemeal spaghetti, and I'll talk to you whenever this is all finished. And I'll do a big pot of it, okay? So just put it in your pot like that. And then I'm going to add some boiling water, okay? So I'm going to add the kettle boiled. Now, you don't have to serve it with spaghetti. You can serve it with pasta if you like, you know, just pasta shells. But pasta and meatballs is a favorite in our house, spaghetti. So I'm just going to add more water here. So I'm going to put this out on this gas here, and I'm going to bring it to the boil. Add a wee bit of olive oil as well into your pasta. Just a wee drop, okay? And a pinch of salt. Pinch of salt into the water, okay? And then I'm just going to push it down. And then I'm going to get the lid on it. I'm going to bring that to the boil.
Joanne, was that a vegetable stock cube you were talking
I have the kettle on here, and it's fair. I can't really hear you for 2 minutes.
about? Okay.
So I'll answer some questions whenever this kettle stops boiling. It's very noisy.
That's fine.
So in here I have the stock cube, okay? I'm going to add that in. And then I'm going to add passata. Okay, now you can use tinned tomatoes. If you have tinned tomatoes, that's okay. Passata is pureed tomatoes. That's all it is. It's just plum tomatoes, you know, the tinned tomatoes pureed. That's all it is. All right. And then just give that a wee stir. Now I'll answer questions now. My kettle's nearly boiled, so I'm going to put another half a carton of this in as well. Okay, because I have a lot of veg in it. And then I'm going to add a pinch of salt. I'm going to add some sugar as well because the tomatoes are quite bitter. So I'm going to add a couple of pinches of sugar, okay? And then I'm going to add in the spinach, okay? Now the spinach will just disintegrate in the sauce when it comes up to the boil. So I'm just going to bring this up to the boil again. Seconds. And then I'll answer your questions. All right. So when you're cooking, make sure as you go along that you taste it. If it's too bitter, then you know to add a little bit more sugar to it. Okay, because you don't want it to be you don't want to have that bitter tomatoey taste off it. Okay, I'm just going to get a lid to this. And I'm just going to let it come to the boil for 2 minutes. And I want to see, there was a few questions there, but the kettle was on. I'm going to add more water to the pasta. And I'm going to let that come to the boil now. And I'm going to let this come up to the boil and wait till I close this door. Somebody's coming in now. Now there was a few questions there. Does anyone else want to ask me any questions?
I was wondering, Joanna, I presume it's a vegetable stock cube you used.
No, it was a beef stock cube.
Oh, beef.
Yeah, it's beef. It's beef because I'm using beef. But if you're doing chicken or you're doing just vegetables, you can just use a vegetarian, like a vegetable stock cube.
Yeah, yeah.
But I use beef in it because I'm going to be serving it with the mince.
Oh.
But you can use a chicken or a vegetable stock cube if you're not going to be using any mince.
But you didn't use a stock cube then in the sauce, no?
I put a stock cube in this sauce here. I dissolved it in a mug of boiling water.
Yeah, but was that a beef one as well?
That was a beef one, yeah.
Oh, they're both beef. That's fine.
Yeah.
I knew the other one was a beef because it was beef you're adding it to.
Yeah.
It's also a beef one that you put in the sauce.
Yeah. It just gives it more flavor, Mary.
Yeah.
A lot of food that you buy, if you go to a restaurant or anywhere, you'll always get like a really nice flavor off your food. It's because they use stock for everything. Stock is the base of a lot of like stews and soups, and you probably all know that anyway. So your secret ingredient is always stock or bouillon. You can buy bouillon powder, which is like it's just a bit like stock cubes, like a powdered stock cube, you know. So you can buy that in like Linus or anywhere they'll sell it, you know, and it's actually got salt in it. So I'm just giving this a wee stir. Now the spinach is dissolving here, okay? I'm going to bring this to the boil for another minute, and then I'm going to add it to the meatballs. So the meatballs are nearly cooked, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the sauce. Okay, so we're going to cook it in the oven for another few minutes. Now I'm going to taste it because I want to see, is there enough seasoning in it? Yeah, I'm going to add a little bit more, a wee pinch of sugar, just because the tomatoes are a wee bit bitter. I'm going to add some black pepper. Okay, I'm not going to add any more salt because there's enough salt in it. Okay. Now, if you have fresh spinach in the bags, you just make sure you wash it really, really well, because sometimes that spinach will have little gritty bits in it. And you can use a whole bag of spinach because it just disintegrates. Maybe I just stir this. So we'll just let that cook away, and then I'm going to add the sauce over the meatballs, okay? Now I'm not pureeing this sauce, but if you want to puree, you can before you do this. If you just want to have a nice smooth sauce, you can puree it. Now, whenever you're making this, as I was saying, if you're smart enough, you can make extra sauce so you can have it for the next day's dinner, which you can, you know, or put it in the freezer for another day. All right. Now, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some. Now that's it there. I'm going to add some grated cheese to this. I'm going to stick it in the oven for a few minutes to let it finish cooking out. Okay. So once your meatballs are nearly cooked, then add your sauce. Okay. Now, if you want to have this ready, you can have your sauce in the freezer and your meatballs in the freezer. And if you want to use those, like, you know, the disposable dishes you buy, the tin foil, they're about that size, they're tin foil tray. You can do your dishes in them and put them into your freezer. Okay. And I'm just going to add a sprinkling of oregano to the top of it. Just a wee bit, okay? I'm going to put this back in the oven. There's a bit of spinach. Now, as I was saying, you can puree the sauce if you want to have it pure, smooth. Let that cook away there for about 10 minutes. I'm just going to move this over here. I'm just going to cook over there. I'll move this out of the road because I don't need that now. So, has anyone got any more questions? How are you getting on, Louise? How are you getting on?
Yeah, I'm a bit behind, but I'm just working away, so we'll get there.
Are you having it for dinner tonight?
No, I'm just gonna leave them for tomorrow evening, so I won't cook them tonight. I'm just doing the sauce now, so.
Just be organised.
Yeah.
Joanna, there's a couple of questions in the chat. Can you see the chat?
Yeah, I'll go through the chat now. There's loads of questions. Let me see. I go to the top. Sorry, I'm trying to go scroll up here. Right. Do you need to put oil in the dish before putting on the meatballs? No, you don't. I didn't put any oil in that, okay? because there's oil already in the onions, and there's a little bit of oil or like fat in the steak mince. So you don't really need to add any more oil. Okay. Is the spaghetti boiling or simmering? Now the spaghetti, I've cooked the spaghetti and I'm using whole grain. I just want to show you. So this is whole wheat spaghetti, okay? So somebody was asking me earlier on about carbs, about putting out carbs and how carbs are unhealthy. But the thing is, there's different types of carbs. If you're going to eat healthy carbs like whole wheat pasta, brown rice, potatoes, sweet potatoes, they're the healthier forms of carbs. Like carbs are like cakes and biscuits and white rice and white pasta, and they don't keep you full for long. So if you eat white pasta, you'll find, you know, after a while that even with children, they'll be complaining that they're feeling hungry. So if you can change to wholemeal, even tortillas. Remember we done the fajitas? We used wholemeal for fajitas. So try and swap over if you can. You'll feel that you're full. It keeps you fuller for longer as well. Plus, it has the benefits of more fiber in it as well. Okay, so and you know fiber is really important. And if you're changing over to wholemeal food, make sure you drink extra fluid and drink more water, because it will just stick inside. It'll just stick in you if you're just eating more fiber, but you're not drinking enough liquid to pass through, especially with children. So just be careful about that. Yeah, the spaghetti is simmering. I boiled it. I used water from the kettle. I boiled up the water from the kettle and I poured it over it. Okay. But you can add the spaghetti into boiling water. And I put a little bit of oil in it because it stops the pasta sticking together, and a little bit of salt just for a bit of seasoning. Joan, yes, you can use corn mince instead of the real mince. You can, yeah. And you can get gluten-free pasta as well, Joan, if you're gluten-free. There's always different alternatives. Joan, would you use corn a lot?
Yes, I do actually, Joanna. Yes, I do.
Yeah. So yeah. Now I don't know if do you use the frozen corn?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever used it when you defrost it?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you defrost it, it'd probably be better for shaping. You know.
Okay.
If you let it defrost, it will probably be better for shaping into the meatballs.
Okay.
So because if you're using it and it's frozen, it'll be hard to make into shapes. You know.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Has anyone else any more questions? I see. Yeah, it was a beef stock cube I used. Okay. It does smell delicious, I have to say.
Don't be making us hungry, Joanne. That's
I know.
that's the only question I'm wondering. How could we sample it?
How can you sample it?
How could we sample it?
I'll have to do Meals on Wheels and drop it around to you, Mary.
That would be very much appreciated.
Yeah, nice one.
I've annoyed Paula with nearly everything. I don't think I can ask her that at this stage. Maybe later on in the year.
Maybe when lockdown's over, we can arrange something like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
That'd be lovely. Yeah.
A wee cookery demonstration in the person, and we could all sample the
Yeah,
food.
when we're doing it face to face, Mary, it'd be better. You can get tasting it. Do you have a centre where you use like a community centre?
Sorry,
Do you have a centre where you use, Paula, or do you just go all over?
Well, when I joined here last year, it's been lockdown since. So, but before that, I know Nerwin would have organised events in, places, booked places for meetings or training or conferences and that. So it's definitely something we could think about, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah.
Mary, where are you from?
I'm from Armagh,
Oh, are you?
It's a good road to Armagh, Joanne.
Oh, I know that road.
That sounds like an invitation.
Mary, you're a good crack, do you know that?
I haven't been on that road, Mary. I haven't been on it for 6 months.
I might be able to even stretch as far as a coffee.
Yeah, I'll drop you in meatballs the next time we're going to Dublin, Mary. I don't know when that will be, though. That's the thing. I don't know when that will be. Maybe I just check the spaghetti.
Yeah, you're good crack, you know.
What?
You're good crack. I'm an Armagh too, you know. We should meet up sometime, a bit of crack.
Doing?
Yeah.
You are Armagh as well.
Yes, I am.
What part, Joan? Excuse me, asking.
I'm 6 mile out of Armagh, place called Rich Hill.
Oh, Rich Hill. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, Richard, yeah.
I'm just out in Erie Road, Joan.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
You have a great sense of humour.
Oh, good. I don't know. I have a great stomach as well. And I like everything, Joanna. Funny enough, unless I'm really hungry, I don't like lasagna, but I can even take it too if I'm hungry enough.
You're like my husband, he doesn't like pasta at all.
I know. Yeah.
I see.
Oh, God.
Patricia's just asked here, do you know Wanda Jones?
Oh, I do know Wanda. I do.
There you go. I don't know. It's just in the chat there, Mary.
Yeah, I do know her. Wanda and I and a number of others a couple of years ago, we were in a wee short play in the market house in Armagh. Where?
It's a small world.
Do you know her, Paula?
No, Patricia put it into the chat
Oh,
there.
Patricia does too, but you don't know her, no.
No, I don't know.
But we better wait and see what Joanne's saying next and not
Yes.
No, I'm just draining the pasta.
It looks lovely.
You get more than cooking here, don't you? You get conversation and
Well, it's a whole social interaction. They tell me that's very important, Paul.
Indeed.
Well, I work in Armagh.
Good God, this is getting smaller and smaller, this
Armagh. Whereabouts in Armagh do you work?
I work in St. Luke's, but I live in Coal Island, but I work in Armagh and St. Luke's.
You live in Coal Island, I live in Coal Island. This is unbelievable.
Isn't it? You see, most people graduate towards Armagh for some reason or other.
I'll probably see you in New Stores, Paula.
You probably will. I'm in there nearly every evening.
Pamela, as long as I don't end up in St. Luke's, I'll be all right.
Dear.
Now, ladies, this is ready.
Oh my goodness,
lovely.
it looks gorgeous, Joanne.
So I'm going to use the spaghetti now. I'm looking for the wee. Here it is. I'm going to use the spaghetti now, but if you're not going to use it, then you can run cold water and cool it down if you're not going to use it. But I'll be using it straight away. So so I'll just put a portion in here and I'll show you. All right. I'll just put this over here. Now, if you want to be organized, you can cook your pasta the night before, okay? And what you do, as soon as it's cooked, then straight away put it into cold water and run the cold water on it and let it cool down. So the next night when you come home from work or if you're in a rush for the dinner, you have your pasta sauce ready, your meatballs, put them on a tray into the oven. And all you do then is heat up your pasta, is put a pot of boiling water on and a bit of salt in it and throw your pasta back into it and just bring it to the boil for about less than 5 minutes. And your pasta is cooked and ready. So you can do that. You can be prepared and have it all sit in your fridge. Now this is going to get my...
Joanna, did you put cheese on the meatballs?
Sorry?
Have you put cheese over those meatballs?
Grated cheese, yeah, sorry. I put grated cheese over these. Now you can add mozzarella or you can add, I've just added cheddar cheese, okay? So you can put, I'm going to put these out in the dish because I'm going to serve this now. Once this is over, everyone's going to smell it and they'll be in like a light. So I'm going to put it onto a sharing bowl and they can help themselves. So the meatballs, I'll just check now. Just want to make sure your meatballs are cooked, but not to get in the oven quite a while. They should be, okay? So if you cut down the middle, yeah, they're nice and firm, okay? So you'll feel them when you cut them.
How long had you those approximately in for? Was it nearly half an hour?
I put them in about 20 past, and then I put the sauce on them about 25 to, so they've been in for about 30 minutes anyway. Okay. And then if you get some of the nice bits of cheese on it, they'll be all fighting over the cheesy bits. Okay, now you can put more cheese on it if you like. And there you go. That's your meatballs with your spaghetti.
Looks
Now you
good.
can serve your meatballs in a dish and serve your spaghetti in a separate dish if you want to just put it on the table. So there you go. That's your healthy meatballs and tomato sauce.
Looks
Okay.
great.
Gorgeous.
So yeah, and that sauce you can use that for spaghetti bolognese, as I was saying, for lasagna as well. You can use it for chicken pasta bake. There's loads of different things you can do with that sauce. So it's very versatile. Okay, and kids love it. Kids love that sauce. And if you have kids that don't like vegetables, as I was saying, use your blender and puree it up.
Yeah.
And it is really, really nice. And you can add grated Parmesan cheese to the top as well. Okay. So yeah, that's it. Has anyone any more questions?
It just looks lovely.
Sorry, somebody asked me, is 180 for a fan oven? Yeah, I put it, mine's a fan oven, so it's 180 in a fan oven, okay? So.
Can I just say a few things, or just to say everybody, thank you so much, Joanna, for this course. It was brilliant. We're starting another one. Now, I'm not sure if we're starting next Tuesday night or the following Tuesday night. Joanna, I need to firm that up with you.
Yeah, I think I sent you for 5 weeks, so I was going to start next Tuesday, running up to Easter.
Right, I should have put it out in our wee email yesterday, but I can put it into the e-zine this week. But but everybody here will get information about it anyway, so you can register. I'll just give you the wee taster. Week 1 will be potato bread, soda farls, oven soda bread. Week 2, fruit scones, treacle bread. Week 3, apple tart, shortbread. Look forward to that.
Lovely.
Week 4, coconut and jam sponge and cornflake tart. Reminds me of school dinners, which I used to love. And week 5, chocolate brownies and 15s. Week 6, Victoria sandwich and cupcakes with filling. So that's a taste of what will be coming. It'll all be like baking stuff, which will be great. And so that's something to
We'll
look
all be
forward
as fat as fools after.
Sorry?
We'll all be as fat as fools after
Well,
this.
I'm counting calories, so I love watching this, but I'm not gonna. Well,
Yeah.
I can nearly taste that from here just looking at it. But no, but just I hope you'll all register for that too. But I'll keep you informed about it, okay?
Yeah.
And also, this video tonight will be going up on our YouTube channel. You'll get a link for it tomorrow as well. So
Right. That's brilliant.
thank you so much, Joanna.
Thank you.
Until the next
Thank
time.
you so much, everyone, and hopefully I'll see you again.
Thank
Okay, thank you.
And thank you, Paula, as well, for all
No
your.
problem.
Yeah, Paula, thanks very much.
Very much.
No problem. See you all next
Thanks,
time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Bye.